Hello everyone, welcome to the second module where we're going to focus on positivism, post-positivism, and social inequities. Just as a reminder, as we move through each of these modules, we want to continue to tune in to ourselves to become aware of which paradigms we find ourselves drawn to or which paradigms we find ourselves distancing from or questioning a little bit more than others. So please keep that in mind as we continue on. To begin, I want to highlight in a bit of a dramatic, dichotomous way that there has been a shift over time from initial ideas that were called positivism into a post-positivism view. So initially, when the scientific method, empiricism, was being theorized and developed, there was an assumption that reality exists outside of our viewing of it, and that it can be possible if we can develop the best scientific methods to be able to come to know that reality. So as research has continued, there has come to be a little bit more humility and nuance brought into it, so that in recent decades, the thinking is still that there is a reality that exists outside of our viewing, and that we can approximate it, that our scientific methods can help us come to more fully know it or to come closer to that reality that exists independent of ourselves. So just keep that in mind, that there has been this shift in thinking over time with these fundamental assumptions. Okay, so now to move on, I have pulled some of the key tenets for you from the readings that you're going to do. And I want to just highlight that post-positivism views the work that we do as in pursuit of objectivity, as being able to have knowledge that can be true across points in time, in various spaces, that we can come to understand causation and correlation, thus helping us be able to predict more effectively. And finally, that it can be possible to have the results be independent of a researcher's values and biases. So how do we come to know this external reality? Through data collection tools of observation, interviewing, self-report. And there is a hierarchy of research designs. Those that are particularly well designed provide the level of objectivity to have a very strong degree of confidence in the validity and reliability of the findings. So some of these next slides overlap a bit with the key tenets, but I just want to highlight here. So the way that positivism attends to bias is by using controls within methodological decisions. So we name bias, we engage with multiple researchers to help control for what any of us might do individually, and we try to use the data collection tools that also help control for bias. Finally, we use peer review for additional oversight. So then with values and ethics, post-positivism seeks to be value-free. So we want to name assumptions, influences, and the thinking is that if we follow the principles of the scientific method, that we will be able to approach this level of neutrality or objectivity. And our institutional review board policies and procedures also offer us some external guides to be able to strengthen this. So I have started just preliminary list of some of the strengths of post-positivism. So we're able to look at large-scale phenomena. We can systematically collect data about our practice, about our understandings of human behavior. And that can really guard against these faulty assumptions that human beings tend to do based upon anecdotal evidence. Some of the limitations are that a lot of the questions that social workers want to examine are outside of what we can do with scientific method. So, for example, we're not able to research which of our values might be more important, or when we're looking at ethical decision making, we have some limitations in terms of what our methodologies can offer to help us in making those decisions. It can also be incredibly hard to translate these abstract, very complex concepts that we use to try to capture human behavior, human interactions, and to turn those into measurable variables, to operationalize them in ways that truly capture what is happening. And you'll see a couple of other limitations here. So how do you want to read for this second module? I have some guidance. There's a one-page summary from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Then I'm asking you to look at Thayer's piece on those particular pages, and then Reamer, who also focuses in on the thinking of post-positivism. And then the Anastas reading does a brief discussion of all the paradigms we're going to use. So that might be something to come back to and skim quickly as we move through the others. Also be mindful of the fact that she talks about realism, which is getting into some of the contemporary debates around these paradigms. And you really don't need to worry about that for the purposes of this course. So then, moving on to social inequities, please look at the Braveman summary report on childhood health inequities, and then select another area of social inequity, racism, inequities with gender and sexuality, or social class, and then look at the reading that is listed there. And I just want to end by saying that personally for me, I find post-positivism incredibly helpful for things like giving us data about the ways that implicit bias operates, the ways in which human beings perceive and interpret what we see, the ways in which on a micro level, microaggressions are occurring that then also reinforce the institutional structures of dominating kinds of systems and dynamics. At the same time, I often am challenged by finding research methods that can truly capture the complexities of what is going on in clinical process in a real multifaceted kind of way. So I just want to throw a couple of those out in terms of how I am experiencing this paradigm. And as you move through the readings, I encourage you to continue to reflect and to identify the specific ways in which post-positivism is useful for you and your practice and your focus area in the program, as well as the limitations that you might notice. Happy reading!